Welcome to Youth Pod. I'm your host, Francis Ngala, and today we are going to talk about unemployment and entrepreneurship. Given that every year, thousands of young people graduate from institutions of higher learning and hoping to get formal employment. Many of these graduates face numerous challenges in seeking employment. And today, that's where we want to major in. I'm joined by a young panelist, and I can say young and positioned. He is called Evans. He will help us steer the conversation forward. Welcome so much, Mr.
Thanks.
Evans, and for making time for Youth Pod.
Thank you so much for hosting me, Francis.
Yes. Feel comfortable?
Okay, thank you.
Why do you think we are suffering from unemployment and yet we are so positioned, we are so smart and very accomplished? Just to start from there.
Okay, I think the main thing that I would say that really contributes to people being unemployed is that we have preset opinions about what we're supposed to be doing with our lives. You know, in our society, most of the time, we are born with that notion that you need to get born, go to school, you know, after school, graduate and get a good job. And I think that's the most misleading notion that we carry along in our lives. Yeah, I think if we could have a little bit different approach towards how we set our goals and how we want to do our things, then we would be at a very different position.
And maybe just to ask from there, the rates of unemployment in Kenya are rising every now and then. What comes to your mind when those statistics you hear, they are rising every day and every time? What comes to your mind?
Yeah, it's quite alarming, the amount of unemployed youth that we have around. And I think the system that we have in place hasn't really set the right procedures to make sure that somebody comes out and gets a place in society once they transition from schools and stuff. But I think what the government is doing recently, basing the curriculum on careers, I think that's really going to get us out of that mess. Because I think initially, we mostly believed that somebody is supposed to go through it's the regular thing that we have been doing since our grandfathers and up to now. You believe you're supposed to go to school, go there, then most of the time we let our folks dictate what we want to do with our lives. You find you're interested in something else, and then you're pushed towards a certain direction. So you end up going for what you didn't actually want to do. So I think to reduce that rate of unemployment, I think the only trick is to start early. We need to start as early as from childhood. I think we need to mentor our kids and everybody else to go for what they want.
You've talked about education preparing. Yeah. Do you think the education system now that we have is preparing students well in universities and colleges to enter into a tough world in seeking employment?
I think self-employment is something that is inborn. I believe it has to be in you. Yeah, you don't just wake up one day and you start going out there and doing something on your own. I think you must have something that really pushes you from the start. For my case, for instance, I never really, what I'm doing right now isn't what I went to school for. But then I went to school and got done with the 844, came out here and took a minute to think, now what else? I'm out here, I don't see myself getting hired anytime soon, so what do I do? So I started scouting around for opportunities and looking at the Kenyan market and whatever can really work for me. And in the process, I developed a new passion for something that I really didn't know was inside me. And well, the rest is history. I'm now in a totally different field and yeah, I'm doing well.
To ask you, before you ventured to this business of yours, were you employed before? Before you ventured to stand up on your own?
Yeah, just after my studies, I went into acting for quite a while. Yeah, and it wasn't easy. I have to admit that surviving in the Kenyan acting industry, it's a hassle and it needs a big heart. Yeah, the walks from my place to Kenya National Theatre, doing a couple of auditions and stuff, trying to cast for commercials and everything. But then I think some of us just have the passion for things, but it isn't meant to work for us. Yeah, so I ended up venturing into something totally different, yeah, which I think was a good decision from my side because it's absolutely working for me. So that brings me to the point that we don't really have to follow a set of rules or a culture that is what do we say, was pre-set by somebody else. I think everybody can cut a path for themselves. Yeah,
So what's your thought on someone out there and who is watching this show? Venturing out and standing up for his own, that is business-wise, and stop overlooking opportunities out there because we understand it's not easy. Should it be considered a viable option? Because we all want to be employed.
Yeah, true. I think everybody wants to be employed because I think most people believe that employment comes with a little bit of security. You know at the end of the month you're going to have something in your pocket, which is totally different when it comes to business. In business, especially when you're just started, you just have to push to your very best so that you keep it going. Because you find so many people trying to venture into business and they look at it for a month or two and they're like, no, I don't think this is working for me. I think I should just try something else. But then I don't think that should be the case.
Should it be considered a viable option? Venturing out and standing up for your own?
Yeah, I think it's a totally nice option. Yeah, it's a totally nice option, provided you understand what field you want to venture in and do a little bit of research about what you want to do. Then I think it's quite nice trying to do something new apart from what you really thought you wanted to go for.
So it's a viable option to be considered. And how was your journey? You told us that you ventured out for your business, right? How was your journey? And what are those of the challenges that you face? I know it is not easy to start. Yeah.
So my journey was, actually I didn't quite know that I would end up in the fashion industry. Yeah, for starters, okay, it all started out as a joke. There's this one point I've tried walking to so many agencies, trying to land deals and stuff, and it just wasn't working for me. So I went and sat back at home and thought, what am I really going to do? Then there was this old mzee who just lived next to my place, and he was a simple tailor just in the estate. Yeah, so I could go hang out with him, see how he does his stuff, see how he handles his customers, and for a moment I sat down and thought, I think we could turn this into an actual business. Yeah, because I could see the way guys had demands for whatever he was giving, and the way people were, okay, his regular customers were always coming up with something new that they wanted. So I thought, if we could really put a business mentality into this, I think it would really work. So I approached him just jokingly and told him, why don't you teach me this? So that I can, yeah, that is tailoring. I told him, why don't you teach me this? So that I can be able to help you at times. When I'm out of work, I can be here giving you a hand. And he was like, you're not serious? Who would want to quit a well-paying job to come and do this? I told him, that's me. Yeah, I'm a risk taker and I didn't want to think what was going to happen afterwards. So I started, when I was free, I would go hang out with him, see how he does his stuff. And with time, I learned a few tips from him. And then I talked to a few guys who I knew and a few friends, and they told me, we know of a few guys who are doing this and it actually works for them. And somebody recommended a good school that I could go for a certain period of time, then come back and fully venture into this. So yes, I went, studied for a couple of months, it wasn't so long, and came back with a business mentality. I just wanted to do this and I went for it.
Okay, what's your thought, to ask you, what's your thought to that young person out there and who's watching this and wants a white-collar job?
Okay, I wouldn't want to discourage anybody from going for.
It's not a bad idea, of course.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing to go for white collar jobs. And again, we don't all have to go through the same path. Because yeah, we have guys who are doing the white collar jobs and they're really making it big in their field too. So I wouldn't want to say that it's better doing business than being employed. Because at the end of the day, we business people also want to have guys we employ at the end of the day. Yeah, so I think if you're really into the white collar jobs, then you should just try and push it. If it works for you, then fine. But I would really love people to consider moving out on their own.
To blue collar job.
Yeah, to blue collar jobs, because I think it's easier. For one, I don't have anything that limits me from the time I get into work, the time I get out of work, the days that I'm supposed to be at work or not. I think I just play by my own rules, and that's one of the best parts of whatever I'm doing. Yeah.
And when it comes to unemployment, unajua ni ile time tumetamak, and when it comes to us as youth, ini time ngumu sana kupata kazi. Kwanza sasa tumemaliza college, universities, we are looking for job. Nimetamak mpaka kiatu imeisha. Have you ever shared your experience to any? Because I know getting to the job market is a bit hard for us. It's a bit hard.
Yeah, I've actually mentored a few guys. Yeah, I've had a few guys passing through me, and I made them believe that it doesn't have to be white collar all the time, or you don't have to really follow a certain particular path, you know, because, okay, at times you find that somebody really has the potential in him or her to make it big in the business side or in the entrepreneurship world. But then they have that fear. You know, I think one thing that really limits us as youths, we don't really want to make that bold move. Yeah? I think it all starts from there. Yeah, making that bold move. Saying, I just want to throw everything to the wind and try this. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it works, well and good. So I think the only thing we're supposed to be doing, or our starting point, is deciding you want to take that risk. I think from there, everything just falls into place.
It works.
It works, because I would say it hasn't been easy for me. Yeah, there are times you really grounded until you say, I think I'm going to give up on this. I think I need to find myself an actual job. You actually start thinking like whatever you're doing is not a real job. Yeah, you need to find yourself an actual job. But then the highs, we have the highs and the lows. There are those times that things really work for you and you land deals that you didn't actually expect you could. And at times, but then it's all over business. We have the slow times and the high times. So I think everybody should just learn to take that risk and just move with the tides. I think it's easier that way.
Talking about unemployment, what are the cons of unemployment and what are the consequences?
About unemployment, of course everybody knows what comes with somebody who is unemployed. You know, once you've tried to land a job for so long and you don't actually find what you're looking for, the first thing is you're going to become frustrated. And a frustrated person is a bitter person, you know. And once you're bitter and you're frustrated and then you know you have nothing to lose, a lot of things come into your mind. Yeah, that's why you find a lot of people going for crime and others gambling, others going for options that they think are easier. You know, a lot of people think the ways that they could actually make it in life without really following the proper ways. So I think unemployment really comes with a lot of bad things because, okay, a lot of people, I will have to admit, a lot of people who are really into drugs and crime and stuff are mostly as a consequence of unemployment. Because I don't think you would be out here knowing you have to go to a job at 8, then you're still somewhere with your friends hanging out, abusing drugs and stuff. I think having something to do comes with a particular sense of responsibility. And it also instills a little bit of discipline in you. because you know at the end of the day you have a boss you're supposed to please somewhere.
Yeah.
You have somebody you're supposed to report to who really needs to hold you accountable. So once you're unemployed, I think you're at a very high risk of getting into so many unnecessary stuff. Yeah.
There's this term innovation. This term innovation. And there's this notion of Kenya is hotbed of innovation. Are we actualizing to it, or we have a long way to go?
Okay, I normally love whatever we call innovation. I normally love referring to it as creativity. I think we have a lot of creative minds out here, a lot of creative youths out here, people who, given the right platform, would be able to achieve so much with so little. Yeah, we have a lot of creative people who could really build themselves an empire, just given the slight push that they need and given the right platforms. So yeah, it's true we're a hotbed of innovation, but I think what really discourages us, you put your heart and your mind so much into achieving something, then at the end of the day, maybe it's not you who is going to really benefit directly from that. You find we have a few guys up there who really eat out of your sweat more than yourself. And also, a lot of people really slack, really go slow on innovation because they know at the end of the day, they're not really going to achieve, or they're not really going to get to where they want to be. So you find a lot of guys sitting on their creativity, sitting on their talents and everything. But I think just from whatever little we've seen, I think we have a lot of creative minds floating around in our country.
Talking about innovation, does innovation only mean something to do with computers? Or we can innovate something to do with agriculture, textile industry?
I think innovation is all round. I don't think we could really stick it to a particular set of, activity or a particular set of thinking. Innovation is all round. For example, somebody sits somewhere and decides to, just take a set of beads and come up with something and takes it out there on the streets, and yeah, we have guys passing and looking at it and saying, wow, oh, this is nice, this is nice. I think that's an innovator. Yeah, that's a creative mind. I think that's craftsmanship, that's innovation too. So I don't think it really has to be stuck to technology and computers and stuff. No, everything to do with creativity and can also, in the long run, generate income, that's innovation.
Yes.
Yeah, that's innovation for me.
Okay, and there's this young person out there who has an idea. He or she wants to put it to practice, but he or she does not have enough capital. How would you advise him or her to go about it?
Normally, I advise guys to just start small and go at your own pace. It's not a competition out here. I always call it baby steps. Just go with your pace. No, it's not a competition. We can't all achieve what we want to at the same time. Of course, we have somebody who is going to be making it big at this particular time, and then the next time it's somebody else. So I don't think you really need to be hard on yourself. I think you really so long as you just believe on your dream, yeah, you want to go for whatever you want, just to go with that pace, because you might be in a competition with somebody, and that particular person, maybe it's a family business. He found it already moving, so he just picked it up from somewhere. He had all the resources, all the finances, and everything. So you will be there hanging yourself, saying, I think I need to get to this level, and you want to make it maybe within a span of a year, and that person has been there for like 20 years. It's not possible. Maybe you don't have any source of funding from your background, you don't have any savings, you don't have anything to start from. So I think we just all need to learn to go at our pace. We also need to learn to believe in ourselves. Just believe in whatever you want to achieve and just move with your pace. I think that's my number one advice. And another thing that could also be an alternative, I think we could, right now we have a lot of financial institutions that are really focusing on the youth. I think if you have a good project you want to run, yeah, you have a good thing you want to work on, and you just develop your profile and approach one of these banks who are big on the youth, or these financial institutions who are big on supporting the youth. Once they look at your prototype and see that you have something that could actually work, I don't think they'll have a problem funding you. I think there's so many funds out here, both by the government, the banks, and all these other institutions out here. So if you have an idea that could really work out, and you've already, I think the first thing is to set the foundation for that. Once you have already set that foundation and you want to keep it moving, just approach one of these guys, provided they believe in your dream and share in your passion, then they're definitely going to give you that big head start, and you're going to land where you want to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're talking about financial sharks.
Yeah.
Can that work in the real sense, given that, you know, as a financial shark wants to invest in your idea?
Yeah.
Talking about on the other side, will he want something from that idea?
Yeah, I think one thing that we've really come to make as a culture of us is that there is nothing for free. I think that's one thing that's really dragging us down, because everybody believes they need to get something in return at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But business. Yeah, it's business at the end. Yeah, I think the actual idea is business. So you wouldn't actually blame somebody for wanting something in return. But I was really wishing that if we could have just a few people who are really in position, who could really just have the heart to believe in somebody's dream and give them a head start, whether they're going to give them anything in return or not, that would really help. Though I think most of the time the financial sharks normally want to benefit from you, because the essence of it all is doing business. So once you present the idea, and you might as well go as far as signing a contract, telling them when this idea works and I start earning this particular amount, I think I'm going to give you this percentage. I think that's what everybody loves hearing. Most investors really want to know what they're going to get out of that. And it's not a bad thing. Actually, that's how it works even out there. It's not only in our country where it works that way. A lot of people would invest in you only if they see that potential in you, because they know at the end of the day, they want something in return. So I still go back to the point that once you know what you want to do and identify the right people, then I think it would be easier. Yeah, because when the dream or when your project actually works, then I don't think there's a problem if you give back a hand. That's what we call it. You're giving back a hand. Give me, I give you. I think if what you wanted to do has actually started working, then I think appreciation is of essence.
Okay. Guys, let's have a short break. We're going to be back with Mr. Evans, who is steering this conversation forward and, of course, giving us hints on how to get to business.